You know, Israel's first president is a man named Chaim Weizmann, and he once said that miracles sometimes occur, but one has to work terribly hard for them. And I just love that. Miracles sometimes occur, but one has to work terribly hard for them. Here's somebody who's very pragmatic, and he's trying to help birth a new nation, the state of Israel. Israel's first president in the 20th century, and we are the ones he believes creates miracles and that they can happen. And I think those Hasmoneans, the folks we call Maccabees, they also believe that we could make miracles, and they believe that we could do it with our own hands, and they put up a really good fight in order to make miracles a reality. This is my version of miracle making, and it comes from another person, another holy scholar. His name is Father Thomas Kavanaugh. You know Father Thomas Kavanaugh because it's President Bartlett's priest. You know President Bartlett from the West Wing? Him. And Father Kavanaugh tells, the West Wing is like the other Bible, don't you think? Like, it's okay, we can say so. God understands. In any case, if you don't know what the West Wing is, we're going to have to talk, by the way. Holly is guilty. Anyway, Father Kavanaugh told on this program my ultimate favorite story, and I like the way he said it, so I'm going to share Father Kavanaugh's words. I forgot the actor. He was from the streets of San Francisco. Yeah, him. Good job. When the president was having a crisis, his priest said to him, "You remind me of the man who lived by the river. He heard a radio report that the river was going to rush up and flood the town, and that all of the residents should evacuate their homes. But the man said, 'I'm religious. I pray. God loves me. God will save me.' The waters rose up, and a guy in a rowboat came along, and he shouted, 'Hey, you in there, the town is flooding. Let me take you to safety.' But the man shouted back, 'I'm religious. I pray. God loves me. God will save me.' A helicopter came next and was hovering overhead, and a guy with a megaphone shouted, 'Hey, you down there, the town is flooding. Let me drop this ladder and I'll take you to safety.' But the man shouted back that he was religious, and he prayed that God loved him and that God will take him to safety. Well, the man drowned. And standing at the gates of heaven, he demanded an audience with God. And God, he said, 'I'm a religious man, and I pray, and I thought that you loved me. Why did this happen?' And God said, 'I sent you a radio report, I sent you a helicopter, and a guy in a rowboat. What the heck else do you want from me?'" That's my theology. It's right there. There's another Jewish story of the same sort. The story is about a pious Jew who boasts to his rabbi that he saved another Jew's soul. A beggar had asked him for a meal, and he agreed, and he insisted that first they must pray the afternoon prayers, the mincha service. And before serving him a meal, he ordered this man who was begging on the street to wash his hands and recite the appropriate blessing over washing. And afterwards, they said the motzi prayer together over the bread. And the rabbi was totally annoyed with his student. He says there are times when you must act as if there were no God. And the disciple, the student, was so taken aback by the rabbi's counsel, and he protested, "How can I, a man of faith, how can I act as if God didn't exist?" And his rabbi replied to him, "When someone comes to you in need, when somebody comes to you and they need your help, just like this person who is begging on the street, just like this person did, act as if there is no God in the universe, as if you alone in the whole entire world, yet you are the only one that could help. And the student says, don't I have a responsibility for his soul? And the rabbi responded and said, you take care of your soul and his body, not vice versa. That rabbi also believed in miracles. A miracle isn't necessarily waiting for the one little vase of oil to last 8 days. Maybe they were better at sustainability than we thought. They made it last. Maybe it didn't happen at all. This story of the cruse of oil lasting and the miracle from God, it's not in the books of Maccabees that talk about the struggle and the fight with these Syrian Greek occupiers who are diminishing our ability to do Jewish. The rabbis teach the story later, at least 100 years later. Why? Those Hasmoneans that put up a good fight that we get to celebrate, and Judah Maccabee and all of that, well, their descendants became corrupt with power because they thought that they could win an oppressive force all by themselves and that their hands created the miracles alone. And the rabbis wanted to create a little bit of a distinction and said, you know, our job is actually to bring light in the world. Sometimes we might need to use our hands to do so. That sounds counterintuitive, but I, for one, think it's true. It's so much more than that. We get to bring light. We get to add another candle. Our rabbis teach it doesn't go 8 to 1. It can only go from 1 to 8. You can never take away light at the darkest time of year. You have to be one who adds it. And for me, folks, the miracle of Hanukkah isn't really that jug of oil, enough for one day, lasted 8. It was that we were able to recognize that there was enough. And even though there was only one, enough for one day, they lit it anyway. They wanted to bring the light anyway. And that glow perhaps was so powerful it felt like 8. Maybe it really was 8. How am I to know? It's all true. Even if it didn't happen exactly the way they said so. But it's true. So for me, how do we make miracles the way our ancient Maccabees did? We can take the easy way out and say, let's fight for religious freedom and human dignity. Yes, let's. But I think it's more than that too. I think it's also to rededicate, to recognize that Hanukkah is still a powerful thing, not because of dreidels and not because of latkes. Did I say that? I didn't mean that. Latkes are important, but only with applesauce. There's agreement. I think Hanukkah is important because it's about dedication and rededication. It's about being intentional. It's recognizing how hard our ancestors fought to be Jewish, to do Jewish, to have and build a Jewish future. That the word in Hanukkah is connected to the word education, which is chinuch. Dedication, rededication, and education, it's all from the same source. So for this Hanukkah, and if you want to be a miracle maker, if you believe in the power, don't leave it only to God. Don't wait for the sea to split or for the oil to last extra time. Be a partner. One of David Wolpe's greatest things that is all over social media is when he said, and he taught that we should be the shamash, right? The shamash is that helper candle. It's the one that's usually taller than the others, the middle one in that one. Sometimes it's on the side. Wherever it is, it doesn't matter. It's usually just the highest one or a taller one. The shamash is the one that is going to be helping. It lights all of the other candles. That's us. We're supposed to be a shamash. That's how you make miracles. I believe in the power of miracles every day. Even we say so every Shabbat morning when there's a morning service, and we have this prayer, part of our liturgy, Nisim B'chol Yom, the miracles that we encounter each and every day. And it sounds like liturgy. But if we go beyond the liturgy and beyond the literal, we see that all of those blessings are about getting out of bed in the morning. It's about waking up and putting your feet on the ground and stretching and opening your eyes. All of those blessings have a counterpart of just waking up and getting out of bed. And since I turned 50, it means something totally different now. Miracles are real for me, but I don't want to wait. And I don't want to think I do it all by myself like the Maccabees did. I think I need you to make my miracles. You might even need somebody like me to make yours. But the truth is, we all can do it. We can be the shamash, we can bring out the light, we can express the gratitude when we see it, and gratitude is going to help us to make choices to make more miracles. All right. 586.